If your potatoes are sprouting like these, don't throw them away, because in this video I'm going to show you how to freeze your potatoes the right way so they don't go to waste. Let's jump into it. So I've got about a dozen potatoes that are starting to sprout, and I can't use them all at once. So what I'm going to do is clean them up, and then I'm going to freeze them so that I can use them later. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove these eyes. And while I'm removing the eyes, I'll take a look to see if there's any other bad parts, and I really don't see anything else that's wrong with these potatoes. They're just starting to sprout, which is not what I want. And if they sprout too much, they'll start to get a little bit soft. And this little tool just makes it so easy to remove the eyes as well as to core strawberries. Now I'll drop these potatoes in the sink and we'll give them a good scrub. And I like to give them a good scrub even though I'm going to peel them. And whereas normally I would probably just wash them before I try to remove any imperfections, with the way those little eyes or little sprouts were, there was no way I could give them a good wash with all those sprouts on them. Now I'll peel them, and then as I peel them I can see if there's any more imperfections on the potato that I need to get rid of, like this one. And this potato peeler makes it so easy to peel these potatoes. I used to use a paring knife for years before I discovered how easy it is when you use a peeler such as this. Those other little potato peelers I couldn't quite get the knack of, but this one, I don't have any trouble with it. So the potatoes are all peeled. Now I'm going to give them a good washing, and then I will cube them up. I'll get my pan of water started to boil. Since I'm not sure how I'm going to use them, either in potato soup, maybe in other soups or stews, or I could even decide to fry them for breakfast or make mashed potatoes, I'm going to use this food chopper to prepare them into the cubes that I think will work out best for me. You can decide how you want to cut yours up. You can cut them into quarters and then into quarters again, but you want to have them in a size that is pretty uniform so that when you put them into the hot water for blanching, they'll cook at about the same amount of time. This video is brought to you by Aprondiva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. So I'm going to slice these potatoes up to about 3/4 of an inch to an inch wide. And then putting them in this chopper just gives me nice uniform sizes, and I've got lots of versatility as to how I use them. This is how they look. Nice little sizes. This chopper just makes cubing these potatoes so easy. I used to stand at the counter for a good little time cutting them up, but it has reduced my chopping time in half, if not more. Now let's take it over to the boiling water bath. Forgot a potato. I'll have to get that. There you go. Let's check the tenderness of the potatoes. We don't want to cook them all together, but they are starting to soften. I'll give them another minute. In the meantime, I'll get my ice out. So now let's drain them. Now we'll put them in our ice water bath. They're cooling off nicely. Now we'll drain the potatoes again. We'll get rid of the ice. Now I'm going to pour this on this kitchen towel, spread them out, and let them dry off. I'm going to spread them in a single layer. And look at all the nice little cubes. I'll be able to use these in soups or stews, or I could make some old-fashioned fried potatoes for breakfast. Now, in case you're wondering, why do we go through all the trouble of blanching them? Because you can freeze potatoes without blanching them. However, potatoes have so much moisture in them that when they freeze, it causes the structure of the potatoes to change just a little bit. And usually, when the potatoes are cooked, then they end up a little bit mushy, and we don't want that. But when you go through the blanching process, that allows the potatoes to retain their structure, so to speak, so that when you cook them later, they cook up nicely. So I'm going to put this other dish towel over the top of them and let them get as dry as possible. So I'm probably going to wait about 20 minutes or so, just letting them get as dry as possible. Then I've already prepared this baking sheet. I put a parchment paper on it, and so once these are as dry as I think they're going to get, I'll put them on that baking sheet and I'll pop them in the freezer, and then we'll let them sit in the freezer for about 4 to 6 hours until they're frozen. Then I'll bring them back in and we'll vacuum seal. So I'll come back. So I'm going to put these in these freezer bags, and these are pint-sized freezer bags, and they'll hold about 2 to 2.5 cups of frozen potatoes. And the reason why that matters is because they're portioned perfectly for soups and stews or something like that. If I decide I want to make a potato soup where I'm really going to need a lot of potatoes, then I can use 2 bags. Always label your bag so you know what's in it and when you put it in there. And putting it on the parchment paper makes it easy to get up. And then letting it dry first and then flash freezing it. I don't end up with like one big clump of potatoes. They're all individual. So I'll put a little cup in the top of the bag. And then pour them in. I'll set it there so it doesn't fall over. And again, just putting a little cup in the top of the bag. And I'm trying to work relatively quickly because I don't want them falling out. Now I'll release the cup. Put the mouth of the bag in the drip chamber. Now I'll just spread it out a little bit more. Okay, so I've got 4 bags of potatoes, frozen potatoes that I can use however I choose. These 2 bags, there's about 2, maybe a little bit more than 2 cups of cubed potatoes. Here I've got about 2, maybe a little less than 2 cups in this one. I've also got some videos planned on how to save and store flour the right way, so be sure to come back and check that out. In the meantime, if you want to learn how to become a modern home economist, check out this video where I give you 7 practical tips on how to become a modern home economist. If you've already seen that, then be sure to check out my video on my 20-item capsule grocery haul. And I'll see you next time.